What's up? It's Marco, Sage of Soccer, and today we're going to be talking about the famous man in green, Cristian Roldan. And Roldan's a pretty divisive player in the U.S. men's national team community. I see MLS fans, specifically Seattle fans, who are big fans of him, want him in the national team. And meanwhile, more cultured, European-centric fans don't want him anywhere near the national team. And I feel like that's interesting for Cristian Roldan because typically when a player does well in the MLS, it usually does translate to the national team to some extent. I mean, even Yazi Zardes has had a couple of good moments. Defenders and keepers have done very well, and his teammate Jordan Morris has had some really good moments for the national team. But Roldan, not so much. I think his best performances in the national team shirt was probably in the Gold Cup, where I'd rank him as our third best winger behind Hoppe and Nicholas Giacchini. Was slightly better than an injured Areola, but I think that's it. And I think even the biggest Roldan fans would admit that Sebastian Lletget has been a far more effective player in the national team. And there are people like me who'd rather have Lyndon Gooch in the team, and I'm not even a fan of him. So what's the issue with Cristian Roldan? I mean, he's a good player in Seattle. I feel like he's only been an MLS All-Star once. We're not talking about Carlos Gil here. But he's a decent player in Seattle. So why is this not translated to the national team? And what I think that is players and their specialities and their systems. Because from whatever I've seen out of Roldan in this national team shirt, I've come to the conclusion that he doesn't fit in Berhalter's system. When he plays in Seattle, he has a special role. No matter where he plays, he knows what he's going to do. Whether that's work rate in the midfield, or that's in his special role in that wide right mid position, he has a job to do. And when he's playing the U.S. men's national team, his traits don't fit into that ability. I don't feel like his technical ability is high enough to play at the center mid position, and he isn't like Kellen Acosta, who has such good defensive work rate that he's able to make up for it. He's almost a jack of all trades type player, but like a six of all trades, you know? So we know that he can be good in a certain role, though. Like, I don't think it's a question that he's better than a good amount of players are going to come up against. Take for example, Honduras. Like, we all like to joke, we have the worst Roldan brother. No, he's better than his brother. And he's better than a lot of those guys in Honduras, but he just can't get the most out of his talent in this national team. So, here's a question. Should we change the formation to build around Cristian Roldan? That's a question for his fans, too, to really think about that. And I feel like if you're saying the answer is not just a no, but hell no, I can understand changing the formation for a star player like Italy would do a lot to accommodate for Pirlo. But you have to be a certain level of player to do that. And I look at a much higher level player, going back to the past, Matt Letizia in England. He was doing very well at Southampton, like extremely well. A great player when he was playing in a specific role in that tucked-in attacker position, almost like a free roll number 10. But that didn't work in England. And they didn't want to change the formation and sacrifice somebody like Alan Shearer to get the best out of Matt Letizia. And was that the right call? I mean, I don't know. Letizia was great, but did you want to get Shedding Sheringham off the field? Did you want to take Michael Owen off the field? I don't think so. And would I change the formation to accommodate Roldan? No. Now, if this was Brendan Aronson we're talking about, and wanted to get a 10 into the mix to get the most out of our best players, get Pulisic, Weah, and Aronson all on the field at the same time, that's a discussion worth having, and I don't feel like we should be set in one certain formation. But to change it for Cristian Roldan, no. And doing well out of position is necessary for a national team player. I mean, we've seen that out of Matthew Hoppe. He looked really good in the Gold Cup when played out of position. Brandon Aronson does that as well. He's not a traditional winger. And honestly, Jesus Ferreira, when he was playing wing against Bosnia, he looked livelier than I've ever seen Roldan look in the national team jersey. So right now, I feel like we have to stop looking at what Cristian Roldan can do for this national team and start looking at what he does. And what he does when he's forced into that specific role in the national team. And when he's in that role, he's a level below the rest of the players. And I can see some good parts of Sebastian Lletget's game. When a game gets end-to-end, he's very dangerous in the box. I can understand that. Even something like a Paul Areola, I can see the work rate being a positive thing. Should they be in the national team because of that? I don't think so. But I can see that. But with Roldan, there's not really anything that makes me want him back into the national team. Even if he's a good locker room guy, at this point, like, you have to be good enough to get into the locker room, and especially with how injury prone our team is, and man, with the pandemic still going, depth is extremely important, and I don't think we should be wasting a spot on him. And I feel like it's time to get some newer players in that position. We've seen Georgi Mihailovic look very good lately, but he has not gotten a chance as he returned from injury. Leon Flock is somebody who I really like at the Philadelphia Union. Caden Clark. Those are all players I'd like to see in the center midfield position a lot more than Cristian Roldan. And only Georgi Mihailovic is better than him at club level. Roldan's still a good player for Seattle, and being a good player in the MLS is a good thing. I'm not taking away from that, so I'm happy for Seattle fans, but he's just not international quality. Yeah, that's all I really have to talk about. And I just find something interesting, like, Roldan doesn't really fit the system, but he's one of Berhalter's favorites. I'd argue the same thing with Sebastian Lletget. He doesn't fit the system, but he's one of Berhalter's favorites. Paul Arriola as well. I mean, we like to tuck in our wingers and have them be the primary goal-scoring option. That's not Arriola's game. I don't know. It's just interesting to me. Like, he seems to like the system so much, but the players he seems to really like and, give call-ups when they probably don't deserve one, they don't really fit the system. I don't know. That's just something I found interesting. So I really talk about right now. See ya.